Welcome to another episode of the Grown in Greek podcast. Of course, we got to do the preliminary getting out of the way of important information. So let's jump in and do that. Of course, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share on social media. You can find us on all podcast platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, watch full episodes on YouTube. And if you know someone of the Divine Nine whose story we need to tell, who are doing phenomenal things like my guest on this episode, please DM me on IG at Grown in Greek Podcast, or you can email at hello@Grown in Greek Podcast. So he is currently the Chief Communications Officer at Talladega College. Now, his background includes more than a decade from rebranding Alabama's largest water utility as a public relations manager to being a spokesperson as well. And he spent 6 years in morning news as an anchor and reporter. He has won numerous awards. He's an all-star award-winning journalist who has covered even notable figures and stories, including the inauguration of President Barack Obama. He is a member of the Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Please welcome to the Grown in Greek podcast, my friend Rick Jackson. What's good, brother?
How you doing, sis? You doing all right?
I'm good. Now, I like that. I don't think I've seen a vest with the shield and stuff on it, man. You bringing in some style and fashion. I like that.
I gotta do what I gotta do, Chop. Gotta do what I gotta
do. Now, kudos to you, because you are like always tightened together and all. And I know that some of that, I know it's a part of who you are, but some of that is because you've been on TV and you've been in in public eye for a long time, your entire career. So, you always got to be presentable, as they say, at all times. So kudos to you for representing always.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm thinking like, dang, it's almost been just about 20 years since I've been out in the public.
Rick.
Yeah, wow.
I know, right? When you look back, I have to think about that too. We were going through some old episodes of Grown in Greek TV, which, is part of the whole brand. But you were even on an episode of Grown in Greek TV, and I was like, dang, that's been a minute ago, huh? So that means we've been friends for at least that long. But yeah, man, time passes, and all the good work and stuff that you've been doing, we definitely want to talk about some of that. But, you're currently Chief Communications Officer at Talladega, and so you've made like a huge career shift, because I know it's not the same as it was when you were doing news. So from telling the story to protecting the story, what part of that transition has been the most challenging for you?
You said that so perfectly. From telling the story to protecting the story. That is, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. As a journalist, we always want to make sure that we are presenting the story, both sides of the story, making sure that the story is accurate, precise, and we want to engage our viewers. And then, so on the other side of that, my job is to protect the brand. And protecting the brand sometimes is a challenge. Being, the situation that may be at hand, there may be something that is very sensitive to a group of people. And it's just, you have to be very careful when you are presenting certain information to the media, because once it's there, one thing I know about being on the other side of the camera is that everyone has their own interpretation of what you've said. And so while public relations and communications, along with media, go hand in hand, there is a strong difference when you're on the other side of it. So
let me ask you a question. I know the answer to this, but I want this to be put out there. What's more important, being first to tell the story, or making sure all of the facts are there before you tell the story? And that's multi-layered when it comes to telling the facts, because you only may have a piece of it, but what's more important?
Absolutely. It's always most important to make sure that you are having the real story and speaking facts as opposed to being the first. There's a lot of pressure, however, on my colleagues who are in the media to make sure that, we want to be first, we want to break the story. We got to beat the other guys at the other station. You got to hurry, put it on social media. There is pressure to do that. And I've seen it time and time again where journalists will put out false information. I mean, I've seen it bad to where they've even announced someone that died and they had died. And then there are consequences for that. You hold yourself to possible lawsuit, ethical violation. And so it's really important. My whole thing is, when you're out front representing a news station or radio station or news paper, they don't do newspapers anymore, but any type of editorial organization, it's really important to know that what you say and how you present a story is out there, and it never goes away. It never goes away because of this thing we call the internet. So always important to take your time and make sure that the facts are there, to make sure that there's no room for anything to be interpreted the wrong way, I'd say. And so that's just a big thing that happens with journalists all the time.
With like the internet being really the first only source, almost, it's crazy that it's been around and had that much of an impact. Like, how do you like, I guess, filter legitimate sources of places that you get your information? Because
yes,
I mean, we're in an age of mis and disinformation, and the internet is the catalyst to all of that happening. So I mean, what do you say about that? Like, how do you dispel any preconceived notions and
so
stuff
the crazy thing is, back in the day, we all waited for the 5 o'clock news to come on. You're absolutely right. Things have changed so much, and these reporters are having to do a lot of things now. They're out there, they're doing the interviews, they are editing their stories, they have to present the stories on the newscast, they have to go put it on the website, they have to put something on social media, several platforms on social media. And so on the other side of that, we have this new generation of bloggers now, and people who are just producing clickbait. They don't care about what the story is on the other side. They just want to have something out there, a nice headline to draw people in. And once you click on their page, that's giving them clicks that will be monetized on their behalf. And so I always tell people to check the source. Like, I mean, folks will send me stuff like, "Did you hear this? Or did you see this?" I'm like, "Did you see the source? Where did this come from? Is this a notable news source?" Like, you always want to stick to your big ones, like, of course, ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, on the television side, and then credible editorial organizations as well, like the Washington Post or New York Times, or out here locally, AO.com. If these organizations aren't putting out the information, question it 2 and 3 times. TMZ has become a credible source.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yes.
And it's always like announcement, no knock to it, but it's always like announcement based. So I'm like, ding, 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 ding. That should tell you right there to question, because it's an announcement. It's not a story, which is so different, when it comes to putting information and stuff out there. It's
absolutely, yeah. So just check those sources. I mean, it's so many journalists out here nowadays.
Yeah.
and so they're making money off of your clicks, your engagement. And so just remember that when you're looking for sources and seeing.
Do you think journalism is like dead, or like what are your thoughts on that?
I think the art of journalism has definitely taken a turn. And it's just a new way of doing things. It's almost like, I'm going to always be a journalist at heart. I'm going to always respect the art of journalism. And I look at things now and I see bloggers who are making big names for themselves, making way bigger checks than we made. as journalists. And it's like, wow, like what school did you go to? What training did you go to? You weren't out there like in the grimes. Like I started out in a small TV market, was poor, small check. My first contract,
What you
I
say?
signed a contract for 3 years, and my first contract was $22,000 in rural Mississippi,
Ooh.
and I had to, work my way up. And now you see, people who they skip over that part. But it's just the way of the world. I think you always have to respect the journalistic aspect of it. And I don't discourage young people who are wanting to join this field not to. I think because it goes back to the question that you ask about credible sources. And in order to be a credible, reputable source, you have to go through the training and the proper learning process to be a credible journalist.
Mm-hmm.
But the way of the world, that's just where we are now, Chocolate. And it's like, even with AI, I wasn't a fan of AI because I'm like, dang, how can this computer go and just compute something so fast that I have to take time to write? And I really enjoy and put my heart into writing press releases and things like that. And so I just one of the people who's like, eh. But someone told me, and it made perfect sense. At one point, we were thinking that using a calculator was cheating. And so we adapted to that. We adapted to know that no, a calculator is not cheating. It is there to assist and aid you. And that is what AI is doing nowadays. It is aiding us into this new world that we're living in. And so we can't be afraid of these different changes
Mm-hmm.
with AI and with these new bloggers and social media friends who are there doing their thing because they have a craft as well. I think we have to embrace it and we
Mm-hmm.
have to walk hand in hand and still, again, respect the art of journalism.
That's the best analogy I've heard, and I don't think ever. It's just like using I mean, seriously, like using a calculator because that's the truth. You know,
Yes.
that's I'm gonna have to use that. So tell whoever you got that from. Thank you. So you are and God, Rick, you said you spent almost 20 years doing the journalistic thing. Have you had to kind of unlearn like the reporter mindset in order for you to thrive as like a strategist now? Because that's essentially what you've had to kind of evolve into, and you've been a spokesperson too. So have you had to adjust to that, and then explain kind of how they're different?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you can't unlearn, and I'm happy about that. Like I
Okay.
spent so much of my life, uh, as I was developing into a grown man, doing that and in the trenches with it. And so, no, it's something that I can't unlearn. And even sometimes, even now, I still like if I see a big news story going on, minus the storms, I'm like, dang, I wish I was out there. Like I wish I was, I still get
Really?
that itch. I do. I still get the
Really?
itch, and it's crazy. And I know at any time I could pick up a microphone and get out there and do it. And so I'm blessed that I can't just unlearn it. But on this other side of media is really important. I think it's a blessing that I have those skills because I know what the journalists are looking for. I
Mm,
know the questions that they're going to ask and the possibility of them spinning it in this way. And if they're sending a media inquiry, I'm like, okay, I think like that journalist. Like, I'm going to ask this because this is what I'm going to really do with this story. And it's the funny thing is, and I was at my previous job with the waterworks, and I remember it never failed when somebody from the team would do an interview, and they'll just be so good, like, "Oh, that wasn't bad at all." And I'm like, they're about to go talk to the other side. It's not gonna be this happy lucky story that you think is
mm-hmm,
like, like
mm-hmm,
no, and then they're disappointed. But that's just the way of it. I think that again, when they used to say this all the time, Chocolate, like people in media they would retire into a PR job. Like you want to get you a nice
Oh,
PR
okay.
job, what have you, what have you. With me, it
Mm.
happened so early on, way earlier than I expected or wanted it to, I would say at the time. But that's just kind of like because journalists make the best PR people. They make the best communication and spokespersons
Mhm.
because they know what to expect from the it's just you having to learn again um, when you're representing a brand. It's not two sides of the story, it's one side, and that story is the story that you're telling.
Mhm.
And that's the difference. Like you're here to represent this organization, this company, this brand, and the other side is not as important. It's about you telling this story the best way that you can, and in the best light. So it's a blessing. I'm glad that I have that urge
You
to
still
do.
got the chops
I
in
still
other,
got it, man.
yeah.
Like I feel like somebody called me up and said, like want to join the team or want to go come. I can do a little independent work, you know,
Yeah. Well, you
and
got,
it's
hey,
because I enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, put it out there. And then, you talking about, they say retiring to PR. Shoot, if you retire early, that's even better. You know what I
Right.
mean? That means you can just kick it and do what you want to do after that. So that's not a bad thing that you started early. So hey, that trajectory might have just been the blessing. You know what I mean? But so when did you? So me wanting to go into like the broadcasting field and stuff, it happened when I was about 12 years old, and I knew it. I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and it became a reality and stuff for me in life. And I, to this day, don't believe that I could be doing anything else besides like being a Janet Jackson background dancer, which I can't do that either. But I would sure try. If they gave me an opportunity, that would be what I would do. But I just knew that was I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I knew that was my calling, if you will. And then things kind of happened in my life that confirmed those things. But what was that moment for you? Like, when did you realize that your voice carried weight and folks wanted to listen to you and folks believed you, and you knew that that's what you wanted to do?
That's a really good question because for me, my path was totally different. I I I'm from rural Montgomery County. And I used to always be the one in the family that's putting together these plays and force everybody to come
Oh,
watch
wow.
me at Thanksgiving or I was such a theatrical child. I loved to be in plays. I would write, I always wanted to be or like I wanted to make movies and I wanted to do plays and I wanted to be on television as a child. And then I end up graduating from a performing arts school. And so for me, I was a first generation college student. I didn't
Oh,
know
wow.
what
Okay.
you're supposed to go to school to do. I didn't have an example to say this is the path that you go in order to figure out what you want to do. So I was offered a full ride scholarship from Bill and Melinda Gates through the Gates Millennium Scholarship Program, and
Rick.
I,
Wow.
yes, that's how I went to school. My parents, my family, I don't come from money. I was very blessed. I was one of like maybe three others in the state to get this scholarship. And I thank Bill Gates to this day. They're very giving. And it was particularly to kids of color who didn't
Mm.
have like first generation students like myself. And so, long story short, I got accepted into Auburn my junior year in high school. I didn't know what you had to, choose a major. I don't know what to do, so I'm going to do psychology. I
Okay.
majored in psychology initially, and I did that. And once I went to Camp War Eagle, which is orientation right before you start, you got to go there for 3 days. And I met these students who were in mass communication. And I was
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, that is it. I want to be a news broadcaster because I can still be on TV, I can talk, I can tell stories, I can do it was perfect. It just came to me just like that. And so I end up because I'd already declared a major, I couldn't change it until like I was a junior. So what I did so that I wouldn't get
Oh,
behind
okay.
is just start taking uh, broadcast and film classes that was towards my major so that I wouldn't get behind, and hoping to God that when it was time for me to apply into the major that they accepted me, because
Mhm.
otherwise I would have wasted 2 years. And so that's what I did. And at that moment I knew this is what I wanted to do. And it's the story that goes on and on, Chocolate, because a lot of our kids now, they are in school. Some of them are seniors, and you ask them, what are you doing next? I'm like, I don't know. Or they get in school and they figure out like, hey, I really think I want to do this, but they end up not changing their major because like I don't want to lose time, or I've already put in all this time. And so it's a blessing to really find out early on what you want to do.
Mhm.
And again,
Mhm.
like I said, I didn't have anyone to guide me and lead me because I was out here on my own for the first time. And so I really found out what I wanted to do going into my freshman year of college after I already declared, because I was I'm going to just be a psychologist. I don't know. Just to make some money. They make
You
money.
just you
I just,
just going to college to figure it out. But that's wild. That, and such a blessing to do. And around the state of Alabama, you are a war eagle to and
yes,
I know that that's a talking point. But you started your career in Mississippi.
I did.
How did you get there from
Uh,
Auburn?
so my last semester, and I was one of those. I was kind of an overachiever, Chocolate. So I finished
Okay.
school in 3 years,
Okay.
and that's because I just never stopped. I went through summers. I took the max courses each semester, and then I maxed out the summers. And so I got towards the end of my last semester, and I needed like 40 hours of internship. And so I landed an intern here in Birmingham with ABC 3340. And so while the other
Okay.
interns, it was a group of us. While the other interns, they were working, 20 hours a week, I was working 40 and without pay. And so I was literally going to work every single day with the reporters. But what that did was it got me experience that the others didn't get.
Mhm.
And so I made these relationships, and some of the reporters and the photographers, they helped me put together a resume reel.
Okay.
And by the end of the internship, I started sending out my resume reel, hoping someone would call me. Uh, I got a call from, I think, Lake Charles, Louisiana, and then I got the call from Tupelo, and they wanted me to come over. Um, and so my parents got together, drove me over to Tupelo, Mississippi. Never been there before. So I told them to stay behind. Like, y'all stay at the hotel. I want to be a man, go out here and handle my business. So my mom and dad was at the hotel. So I go and meet the news director, and he's telling me this and like da 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 da. And we really want you to come join the team. And at that time, I was 21 years old. Um, and I'm like, yes, I got a contract. I'm signing this little $22,000 contract. And as soon
Oh,
as I was,
oh,
as,
Poe.
soon- as soon as I was done, what people don't know, my name is really Keatrick Jackson. As soon as I was done signing the contract, he said, "So, and we're going to change your name, by the way. Keatrick is too much to spit out on air. We're going to change it to Rick." I was like, okay. And so I came back and I was telling my mom, like, I got it, I got the job, whatever. And they changed my name to Rick. And I was like, Rick. And the funny thing is, like, now that's all I go by is Rick. Like, people who call me Keatrick, you know me from way back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't grew up together or something, or went to college. But that's where Rick comes from. And my
Okay.
news director, rest his soul, Matt Robert Davidson, he changed my name to Rick, and I've been going professionally by Rick ever since.
So that's been what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, it was 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was meant to be. I mean, really, it was meant to be because it reconstructed your whole
It did. It really,
persona.
really did. And so, I mean, but that's how I ended up in Mississippi. I stayed there. Of course, I wanted to come back closer to home. Birmingham is not home to me either. But I knew friends here, and I sent over another resume reel to the news director, Bill Payer, God rest his soul too.
Mm.
I just told him that, hey, I'm gonna be in town. Do you mind if I stop by? Wasn't gonna be in town. I totally, just lied to see if he would say yes. He's like, yeah, you come by on a lunch break. So I took off from my job, drove over to Birmingham to meet him, and the rest was history. He offered me a job here in Birmingham, and I've been here ever since.
Mm.
Birmingham is, home for me now. It's where, I just kind of really matriculate into the person who I am today. In media, in TV media, I would say you always want to move up in the market. My plan was to stay in Birmingham 3, maybe 6 years, and then I want to move up to Atlanta, like Atlanta, and then maybe New York for the top market. But things just kind of changed. My whole trajectory changed when this whole thing with the waterworks happened with me
Hmm.
coming over to be their spokesperson, and from that, I just built the whole department over there, and I'm just really, really grateful for. You just never know what your journey is going to be and how
Absolutely.
you get there, but that's how I am.
And I asked you this question and to wanted you to talk about your journey because that's how you chase a story. Number one, but number two, in media, and it seems glamorous and everybody wants to do it and wants to be an influencer and wants to be on television and wants to be spotlight and all that stuff, but you have to have the experience and the credentials and also know how to chase what you're looking for and have that aggression, because those jobs are few and far between, but the ones that stand out, like you have, obviously they take strategic and make strategic moves in order to get there. And it's just a testament to you being in the role that you are now, because you have climbed those stairs and climbed them strategically, climbed them slowly, but also purposefully. And I think it's just dope. I really do.
I appreciate that, Chocolate. I really appreciate that. You definitely want to. It's about passion and what you really want to do.
Yeah.
And you're right. A lot of young people get into this field, and it's glamorous. I get to be on TV. People get to know me and see my face, but it's a lot that goes on before you even make it
Hmm.
to the camera, and it's it can be challenging. It's a
Yeah.
very rewarding field. I've made so many connections that I would not have had it not been um, for television news. And I encourage young people all the time that, are thinking about it to pursue it, because it's been really rewarding for me. And it's what you
Hmm.
make of it. No, you don't just get on TV and become rich, but you make the best out of your
Right.
situation. Like you
Right.
definitely don't
I
do it for the money.
wish. My
Right.
God, I wish. Yeah.
Don't do it for the money. Do it because that's what you really want to do. But then make the
Mhm.
best of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like just make the best of it.
Well, I hear mentor also in what you just said. So, FYI, parents, students, please look and contact Rick Jackson for all of your advice. And I'm just putting it out there, Rick, and I say that because I know that you have a heart to do that. But let me ask you a question as far as media, and then I want to definitely dive into the mantle that you hold now, because it's a heavy one and it's necessary. But the media operates with two, I guess, divisions, right? There's the storyteller, and then there's the system that allows the story to be told through. Um, who has the largest responsibility? And to me, as a storyteller, how do you retain your power when the system is designed to sometimes warp it?
Um, I think the person who is telling the story is you hold the power, and you have to know that when you are speaking, people are listening. They're listening to what you have to say. And I tell people all the time, young people, I would say, because you're right. I'm glad you put that out there because I do love to talk to young people. And some of the students I was talking about, I talked to recently. We had this documentary fly in, and they wanted to talk to some of our students, and they were nervous. They were really, really nervous. I'm like, you have to understand that they're here to see you. They're here to hear what you have to say. It's not about, you being nervous. So I think that just long as you, again, gather all the facts and tell the story in a way that if it were you, that you were being reported on, you would want that same respect. It's a blessing to be able to tell someone's story. It's almost like before I signed off, I thanked the viewers in my very last show for allowing me to come into their living rooms. Because in essence, you're a part of people's dinner table. You're a part of their living room conversations. You're a part of their home. They're listening to what you have to say. And that is a blessing within itself. So to have that avenue, you can't take it lightly. And that's why I always say handle the story with truth, facts, and sensitivity, because you're talking about real people. You're talking about real issues that impact real people. And if it was you, you would want that same respect. So I think that, regardless of how the system, as you say, may try to warp, stories and things like that, you hold the power because you're the one that people are listening to.
And trust is a big thing. So
Absolutely.
when that's gone, where do you go from there? And
yes,
I guess that's a question. Where do you go from there when the trust, kind of starts being watered down?
You go home, because if you lose you lose the person's trust, you go home. It's hard to really bounce back from that, and that's why it's so important. And it's just little things. I mean, my talent coach told me when I was in television, you need to put on a wedding band. And I was like, why? He's like, because you're sitting at the anchor desk and you're talking to older people, and but they're listening to a kid, and it makes you look more credible if you have on a wedding band, because if you're a married man with a family, they'll take you more seriously, listen to what you have to say, and it gives you more credibility. And I started wearing a wedding band, and I hadn't stopped wearing a wedding band. It's like that, and it's just like those little things, though. People want to trust you, and once you get people's trust, you have to keep it. Like having your reputation, and I know people say that all the time, but having your reputation is more important than anything else in this world.
Well,
because if you lose your reputation, then who's going to call you for another job? Who's going to want you to do anything else if you lose your rep? So sometimes you have to walk away from certain situations in order to protect your own reputation, because once it's in the sewage, it's gone.
That's crazy. And you know what? That's biblical too, because a good name is better than riches.
That's
So
right.
you're right about that. So in your role now at Talladega College, you are CCO. And so you have to navigate being, the voice of truth, as we've talked about, but also being the face of the institution in a different light. You're a Black man at a historically Black college and university, and there are so many perceived notions, about the institution and about who you are and who you represent. How are you managing, that weight? And then what is the message that you are trying to evoke, to the public, on a daily basis?
Yes. So let me just say, I didn't get a chance to attend the HBCUs. So me coming into this role with Talladega College has been so fun to be in that atmosphere all the time. So like I'm at my desk and I'm hearing the band outside, and I'm randomly walking towards our student activity center and I see the Greeks strolling. And I mean, we had that at Auburn, but it's so different being a part of the culture, man. Like,
Absolutely.
it's just so cool. Like, I really, really appreciate that. So Talladega College, I took this role July 1 of this year, 2025, with we were going through a transition. Our new president, Dr. Willie L. Todd Jr., he also started July 1st. And the
Oh,
leadership,
I did not realize that you started on the same day.
yes, we started on the
Ooh,
same day.
okay.
And it seems like it was a year ago because we have been moving.
Yeah.
Dr. Todd is a very aggressive, intentional leader. And his belief is we have to punch above our weight class. And just the difference that I've felt since he's been president, it's been remarkable. We
Hmm.
are really moving this institution to what it is. It is the Alpha Lara Vega of them all. It is the brightest star of HBCUs, the first privately HBCU founded in the state of Alabama. And Talladega has a story to tell, a rich, rich story. And I think that it's just we, or, the story hasn't been told the best way it could have been told
Hmm.
for so long. And I love the fact that, it's good when you're working with a product and you have all the ingredients. That means you're going to make a wonderful cake. If you got all the ingredients in your kitchen, you ain't got to go out searching for anything. And my job and my goal, I would say, with Talladega College is to make sure that we are putting out to the world how wonderful this institution is. It is a wonderful institution with a strong alumni base that supports this institution constantly. They love old Talladega.
Yeah.
And we want the world to see what Talladega has to offer. Talladega College produces several college presidents that have gone on and done that. Just I can't say enough about that jewel that's stuck over there in the small town of Talladega,
Yeah.
Alabama. But it's great, man. I love again, being able to communicate with students all the time because they're out there hungry for just mentorship, and you'd be surprised because you've been a student before out alone at a college or whatever. These Some of these students come from different countries, different parts of the country, our country,
Hmm.
and they're just here and they're wanting guidance and they want to be the best that they can be. And so to have an opportunity to be able to speak life into them directly, it's very, very rewarding.
And I have often said this, and just so many people, to what you're speaking about, just so many distinguished graduates of Talladega College are just sprinkled everywhere.
Yes.
And when you see them come together, because homecoming just happened, so I've experienced Talladega's activities pretty much all my life because I'm from the neighboring city next door. But to see those graduates who are in prominent positions and stuff come back, and it's like, I gotta come back to homecoming, I gotta come, and they give and they give and they give. It is remarkable, and I think it is a blueprint, for, and it's a private institution.
Yes.
So who keeps it afloat? That's a big deal. So the wealth that has come from there. Also, the graduates that come from there that contribute to the heritage, the historic monuments and places to visit for tourists and stuff are there. I mean, it is so rich, and I couldn't really have thought of a better person that I knew that should be there telling that story. Because, man, you're right. Like, being close to there and having an affinity for the university, it's just been great to see that it's on Front Street now, and people
Yes.
realize how important it is to give, but also to preserve it, because
Absolutely. Talladega College is all of our responsibility, right?
yeah,
Like,
okay,
it is a blessing to have this institution that's been around this long, 158 years, founded by former enslaved individuals to still be here. And so I think it's all of our responsibility to give back to Talladega College to make sure that it is preserved for generations to come. Um, and the alumni, they are great. But even if you're not an alumni,
Mm-hmm.
we have a responsibility to keep up our HBCUs. And Talladega College is small, but it's mighty, man. It is a mighty force. And again, I'm happy that we're putting stuff out there, putting it out front where it deserves to be. We in my office, we are really, enhancing our social media, just like really, punching that forward and engaging in ways that the college hasn't before. And I'm glad to have, my background and connections here locally and nationally to where we can really put this college on the map to not just the state of Alabama, but all over. And like I said, it's easy material. I got a lot of material to work with. It's just it hasn't been showcased,
Yeah.
and I'm glad to be in a position to where I'm there every day learning stuff about Talladega College. And it's like, wow, let's highlight that. Let's highlight that. Let's highlight that. And we're busy. We're busy
Mm-hmm.
all the time, but it's good. Talladega College is in good hands with Dr. Todd and his leadership team. And I think that this time next year we'll be talking about how much growth the school has seen.
So with your background and, your experience as a student at a PWI and, telling stories, national stories, telling local stories and, how things can microscopically be dissected and everything. What has it taught you, including your experience, at a HBCU now about like your approach to leadership?
Well, I think what it has taught me is that you have to be very, very careful with choosing leaders with HBCUs. And I say that because
Okay.
from a PWI standpoint, they have a lot of support. Like Auburn will never go broke. They'll never not have people in the support systems around. And that's just a worry that they don't have to deal with. With HBCUs, that's something to think about. There
Mhm.
is a chance that, if funding is not there, if giving is not there, and particularly with these private institutions, what could happen. And so you have to have the right people in place that are aware of that, that can be very fiscally responsible, that can be very community oriented, and just care about the institution. So I think that those factors are in place a lot more. It needs a lot more consideration when dealing with HBCUs. One of the things I knew this before. I wasn't just, a stranger to HBCUs. We used to go down to Tuskegee and party all the time and everything when I was at Auburn. And I'm from
Right.
Montgomery, so, I'm Alabama State
ASU.
all day. Yes.
Right.
So, but what I see now, Chocolate, is sometimes you see that some
Mm-hmm.
resources that were so easy um at Auburn, I see aren't necessarily there for some of our students. And but that just shows you the resilience of students from HBCUs. When I tell you that they can go through some stuff or not have it as easy or luxurious as some of these PWIs and come out on top and be out here being leaders in their own
Mm-hmm.
right. I mean, that just shows you the type of students, the type of graduates that HBCUs produce. And
Mm-hmm.
Talladega College is definitely no different from that.
Well, it's it's a lot of genuine love from anybody associated, students, faculty, graduates, staff at Talladega College. I mean, it really is, and it's been a kind of a home away from home for me, and like my brother and sister-in-law and nephew are all graduates of Talladega
Nice.
College, and so it's deep. It's deep. They're members of Greek organizations and stuff too. So that culture is definitely
I
present
love
there.
that.
So in terms of let's dive a little deeper, I guess, with HBCU culture and leading that narrative. Why would you say you talked about being careful about leadership and everything, but why do you think graduates of HBCUs are underestimated, and how can we change that narrative?
Wow, that's a good question. It goes to, wow, if you walk into a boardroom full of white men in suits, would they underestimate you as a black woman? That's just the way of the world, unfortunately. Um, you and I both, I'm sure, at some point have dealt with people. You can feel it, whether they say it or not. You can feel that they think that, oh, you're not as bright, or you're not as capable of doing the job. And we've always had to just prove ourselves more
Mm-hmm.
as Black people in general. And so with HBCUs, it's the same thing. It's just unfortunately how people view our race in terms, and we work extra hard sometimes to just be counted as equals. But the thing that I really, and a lot of HBCUs do, like, you got to know you that you all that, you know what I'm saying? You got to carry that, poke your chest out. You got to carry that with you whenever you are approaching situations, like we all have to do sometimes in our careers, to let them know that, I mean, HBCUs, they produce a great percentage of doctors, medical
Mm-hmm.
doctors, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Again, college presidents, whether it's Black or white colleges, um, a lot of greatness comes from HBCUs. And I just think that we have to carry ourselves accordingly. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that, it'll take time, because HBCU's been around for a very long time. But people will eventually start to make it a little bit more equal. I love what Mackenzie Scott's been doing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's putting HBCUs out there. Just the
Intentional
fact that
too.
she's like dropping these mega amounts on
Yeah.
HBCUs, that has people looking, people who
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't look at an HBCU, that have them looking and like, wow, well, what's the story there? Why is she doing this? Or, you know, and I think it's because she believes in the power of HBCUs and what we're capable of doing and who we're capable of producing. And so kudos to her and all of those who are making way to enhance the quality of our schools.
And her influencer and mentors really drop that in her, to
Yeah.
make her want to do that. So of course we got to talk about your fraternity. The
Oh,
60s
yeah.
came along, and young men decided to change the world and started Iota Phi Theta,
Yeah.
and you are a member, and you are, the ultimate representative in everything. Met, several young men, have done some events. I did one with, I think we even mentioned you when TC Carson was in
Yes.
Birmingham, and
Yes.
so then I've met some members, your frat brothers that are in Tampa, Florida, and we still communicate and stuff to this day. But why was Iota Phi Theta your top choice? What you guys stand for and the work and stuff that you do. How has it helped you to become a better leader? And represent the fraternity.
I get really, really full when I talk about my brotherhood. I love myself some iota, and you know that.
Yes.
So what draws me into the organization is the fact I see myself when I look at iota. I see myself. I'm non-traditional, just like our founders. Our founders were 12 men, non-traditional students, who came together because they wanted to see something different. Many of our founders had families and children, and there on Morgan State University's campus, and they came together for a new purpose. And that purpose built Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated during a time where our country was just going through it right in the depths of the civil rights movement. Our fraternity was birthed, and I love our motto. Of course, we're building a tradition, not resting upon one, meaning that we're not stopping at a certain stereotype. And anybody who joins our organization, you're having a hand in building our legacy. We're still building, and we will continue to build. So Iota just speaks to me. I love the fact that it gives me a platform to provide service. Um, it's made me into the leader I am today because I can go anywhere and you may be the first iota that somebody's met or the only iota somebody's met. And so I tell my friend brothers all the time, like, you have to represent this fraternity at all costs because there is an opportunity, there is a possibility that you may be the only representation of iota that someone will ever know, depending on where you are. And so that itself like makes you a stronger person to have to sometimes be the only one in a room. So sometimes you have to be the only one to wear these letters or do the call and respond to yourself in a group of Greeks. I love it. I love that. Like I had to do that. You know what I'm saying? I
Really,
started out
Rick?
on Auburn's
Okay.
campus. I was the first iota there. Well, at that time. And I had my letters on it. Everybody was looking like, what? And so I love that. And I was coined as the iota at Auburn. And so, it strengthens you as a person.
Yeah.
Um, it gives you a sense of, it makes you into a leader, whether you were built to be one or not. And I just love it, Chocolate. I love being a part of the Divine Nine. I always tell people we're the divine that made the nine. And you say
Yeah.
you ever heard of Iota? Well, we the ones who made it the Divine Nine. It was the
That's
Elite
right.
Eight
You're right.
that came along, and so I just I love the Brotherhood. I love my Greek sisters and brothers of the Divine Nine. It's just a really, really just big family. I love how we uplift each other and the things that we all represent in our own rights. And it's just, it's a fun banter. I just recently was named the
Wait a
director of
minute. Wait a
communication.
minute. Wait. I was holding that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
And
Now.
I told you don't be talking about it. Now I get like I have
Wait.
to start
Hold
flowing
on.
now.
Hold on, Rick. Hold on. So I was going to say that I asked you the question and how I phrased the question about you talking about your fraternity so you could tell the story. And because you are a genius with words, you know how to tell a story, you know how to big up things correctly. You have just been named what?
The director of communications for the fraternity, the international director of communications. I didn't even know you knew that though, Chocolate. So I didn't know. Like,
Oh, hold on. As they say, let me clock your teeth. Let me clock your teeth real quick. I have a journalistic background too now, Rick.
yes, you do.
So there you go. There you go. I just play a DJ.
I know that's right. We got to know how to do a lot of things, huh?
But no, congratulations, man. That's huge.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Yes, I was very honored to be asked to be
Rick.
like for me to be the director of communication for our entire fraternity. That is a big deal, and I was very, very grateful, very humbled, because there are people in the fraternity that work like stay financial, and they work all of their lives to get to a point to where they can hold a position. So for me to be able to hold this national position where I am in a fraternity, I'll be celebrating my 20th year in a couple of months. I just, I'm very grateful for it. And it's something that I do on the regular. And what that tells me is that somebody is noticing the work that
You
I
think?
do.
You think?
that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Somebody knows what you're doing, and that means that you may be doing right. Because there are times we all go through, like, you kind of maybe question or doubt yourself a little bit, or like, it's hard out here sometimes, and but that makes me feel good to know that somebody is watching me, and not only are they watching me, but they're impressed enough to ask me to hold such a role. And even when, like, I got 1,002 things going on, that.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things you couldn't say no to. Like, I can't say no to that. Like, yeah, of course. We're gonna push through these 4 years of this administration, and I'm gonna do the best I can with this position, even with the 1,002 other things I have going on, because it's just such an honor. It's such an honor, and I really hope that I do my brothers justice.
Oh, no doubt. And I will use the words that you just used. That you are that iota. So kudos. No, seriously, kudos to you. And that's you will be the reason why the legacy of iota is here into perpetuity.
Oh man,
So yeah,
thank you.
that's a big deal. And I know this brother. I know that brother. I know that brother. So somebody was saying, yeah, I want to link you with the chief communications officer. He's a good friend of mine, so I know he'll laugh. You want to link you with the chief communications officer at Talladega? I was like, oh yeah, Rick. I know Rick.
I know Rick.
That's my boy.
Go back.
Did you know that he is the director? Yada 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 yada.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes.
congratulations. Well, what's next at Talladega? I know that we're ending a semester, coming up on another semester. So I know you're looking for students and wanting to admonish folks to check out Talladega. So what's next there?
Absolutely.
And then what's next?
Yeah, we're always trying to recruit. We want to recruit students. We're making leaders at Talladega colleges. So if you are out there about to be, you're a graduating senior, you haven't decided where you want to go yet, we would love to have you at Talladega College. If you are an adult that just want to come get your degree, we'd love to have you at Talladega College. If you're an adult who started your degree and didn't finish, we have a fast track program. We would love to have you at Talladega College. We'll help you get that degree at your convenience and quickly. So we're always recruiting. Visit our website, talladega.edu, for more information on that. What's next? We are working on the president's investiture. That's coming up in February 19th through the 22nd. It's going to be a huge event, star-studded event. We're in the planning phases of that right now, but it is something that you probably definitely want to put on your calendar. I don't want to drop any information prematurely, but I will say,
not just a little bit.
Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. We putting a lot of work into that, and so just try to put that on your calendar in February. And so we're moving, man. Talladega College is not the Talladega College of yesterday. This is a different world, a different Talladega for sure, and we are really excited about what is in store.
Well, I'm excited that you are there. Thank you so much for spending time with me on the podcast. It's always enriching when I get a chance to spend time with you. So really, thank you. And I'm just so happy for you, because in the time that we've known each other, man, you have just always gone to another level, and it's something really to watch. So, I'm glad that nationally folks are seeing that and recognizing that. So how can people, you were deserving and you're welcome. Like, really, that's from the bottom of my heart. How can people keep in touch with you, contact you and all? And
yes, I'm on Facebook all the time, putting all my business out there. Rick Jackson on Facebook. And Instagram is at Keatrick. That's at Keatrick. I love to engage with all of you. And Chocolate, thank you for continuing to make this platform to bring us Divine Nine folks together. You've been doing this for a while. Not really. It's my hope. I know it's a lot of work, but I really want y'all to try to bring back the Growing Greek Weekend, or something to that effect. Like, I love what you and Russ and y'all are doing. I mean, kudos to you for bringing us together, because we have to. That's another. We got to preserve our fraternities and sororities and for what they stand for. And let's just get together and have fun.
No doubt, no doubt. So partnership opportunities are there.
Yes.
Sponsorship opportunities are there for us to continue to. All jokes aside, it was a beautiful opportunity,
Yes.
and I appreciate you saying that, and that is in the works to to do again and to partner with folks to make it happen. So yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely thank you for that. But thank you for joining me, and I will. I'm not far away from you, so I'm gonna pop up on you and continue to watch and support everything you do. So you can call on me anytime. But
Absolutely.
Another episode of the Grown and Greek podcast, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me, and big up to Rick Jackson for being the guest. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, share, all of those good things. We're on all podcast platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can watch full episodes on YouTube. If you know someone like Rick who is doing phenomenal things that we need to highlight, please reach out to me on the DM on IG at Grown and Greek Podcast. Until next time. You can support Grown and Greek by subscribing to the podcast, shopping our exclusive luxury accessory line, or purchasing books from the D9 Book Club by visiting our website at grownandgreekpodcast.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and share on social media at Grown and Greek Podcast. Thanks for watching.